Most of us are probably down with aging in the sense that we're getting a little more confident, but I think it's the physical aspects of our appearance that we struggle with coming to terms with. And among health professionals and researchers, they call this health span and lifespan, but more on this later. So I found this diagram while I was doing research, and it illustrates the 4 factors of aging. And this is how we're gonna base all the tips I'm sharing with you guys today, including 2 ingredients that I diligently use every day, as well as tools to slow down fine lines and wrinkles, the effects of cells and telomere shortening, the effects sugar has on our skin, and of course my personal lifestyle tips that have been proven to slow down the aging process. So let's start with the most simple and fun, and we'll work our way up. Water is the source of life, and when we lack it, all sorts of problems start to happen. Sorry about that. And it doesn't matter what your skin type is, how old you are, dehydration does not discriminate, because what happens is our skin and bodies actually create natural hyaluronic acid, as well as other lipids in our skin that keep it plump, flexible, and youthful, and also keeps out external aggressors and irritants. But as we age, that amount naturally starts to decrease year after year, which can leave our skin looking dull, dehydrated, and start forming those lines and wrinkles prematurely, especially if we don't add it back in through topicals on the surface. And for me personally, I really felt these drying or dehydrated effects, especially when I was around 27 or 28, where my oily skin was no longer just like oily or hydrated anymore. It would be rough and dry. Products that I've used for years started to work differently. For example, gel moisturizers were not moisturizing enough, that I was like, okay, I need to double up my hydration and try thicker moisturizers. Let me show you some of my tried and true hydrating products in the bathroom. Here is the best way to be plump and youthful. Starting with a toner and serum. They both have actually been in my skincare journey for about 5 years now, so I love it to death. First, starting with the D'Alba, this is the White Truffle First Spray Serum. So it looks like a spray toner because it has a layer of oils and then the layer of serum. And that's got the white truffle extract, which is a patented ingredient from D'Alba, which is known as Truffle, because it fills in those dehydrated dry flakes and seals the skin barrier so that it can protect from outside, which leaves a truffle glow effect, which is the perfect balance of oil and water. And all the different antioxidants helps to combat oxidative stress. Depending on how dehydrated I feel, then I'll either do a second layer, sometimes even a third layer, and it will instantly give you the glow that you're looking for. We are partnering with them for this section, but I was just so excited because it's something that I've had for so many years now, and I love it. Okay, so moving on, this is no stranger to you guys, but it is the Haru. In the studies, there is an egg, and it just shows you this formula is able to sink deeper into the skin with the ultra deep technology. And I just have loved this. Like, it was on my acne journey. It helped me turn it around. Then my next tip is face mask. I want to challenge you guys with me maybe to do a face mask every single night, because I think I did this for a week while I was in Australia, and my skin was so bright, it was so juicy, it was so plump, and it's all because of hydration. So I recently got this one from Japan and I've been loving it, but I'm gonna share all of my Japanese beauty items in a video coming up very soon, so just stay tuned for that. And then just quickly add a humidifier in when you sleep, or just throughout the day if you work from home, because I swear on the days that we forget to turn on the humidifier, Thomas and I, like, we cannot sleep, or we'll wake up coughing, and then I wake up and my skin is like cracked. Like, it's not that extreme, but it will be so dry. So anyway, all of these things can be really confusing. So what we did is actually create a well-aging pyramid for you guys. So you just have to sign up to our newsletter, which is free, where we have a lot of lifestyle tips and tricks. And we created one specifically to give you guys more examples that I couldn't fit in this video. So make sure you sign up to our newsletter. So on to the next point. As you might know, I am on a retinol journey this year. I'm double downing on vitamin A and it's already shown such good results. I'm so excited to share with you guys my favorites in just a bit. Within vitamin A, there's retinol, retinal, retinoids, and things like tretinoin, etc., etc. And it's been studied extensively to be able to help plump up that dermis layer where the collagen and elastin is produced to make you look more youthful and plump. It also helps with cell turnover. So it's honestly one of the best ingredients out there to do many, many things. But before I talk about my favorite products, if you're a teen here, if you're in your early 20s and you're like, oh my God, do I need retinols as well? The short answer for me is no. Like obviously if you have breakouts, you can use it for breakouts, but your body and skin is already producing the optimum amounts of collagen anyway. So it's not gonna produce any more than you're already naturally producing. So you don't need to start anti-aging with retinols that early. Only from around 25 onwards, when our skin starts to produce less and less, is when we want to start thinking about it. And like personally, I only started it this year more religiously and I'm 31. My current absolute favorites is the Cocokind Retinol Gel Moisturizer. It's caused me no irritation. It's really easy to add into your routine and I love the texture of it. And then there's the Sun By Me Retinol Serum, which is also really gentle and I've loved adding that into my routine. And my recent favorite, also based on your comments, is I decided to use and try the Augustinus Badar the cream, which has retinol palmitate as well as peptides, and I love it. You guys are so spot on where you're like, oh my God, this cream, although it's really like pricey, it does change your skin, and it did. So thank you for the recommendations. But speaking of peptides, another ingredient that I have honed in on, especially starting out in my 30s. So peptides are short chains of amino acids, and amino acids are the building blocks for proteins in our skin. So proteins including collagen, elastin, and keratin. And these proteins are essential for the skin's structure, elasticity, and resilience. And all of these things are what we want to preserve. There's so many different types of peptides. There's one called Matrixyl 3000, and you might also see it as palmitoyl pentapeptide. This will help to boost the collagen in the dermis layer. This one is talked about a lot with derms as well. And then another type of peptide is called argireline, and this one's been touted as Botox in a bottle. Because like Botox, this type of peptide can actually target the neuromuscular junctions within your face to kind of relax those muscles so that we're not always like this, which is something that I do a lot, make a lot of facial expressions. And then there's copper peptides. Those are the ones that I tend to look for. The first one is Glow Recipes Pomegranate Peptide Firming Serum. I have loved this since it came out because of the milky consistency, and it contains copper tripeptides as well as signal peptides. Then the next are actually moisturizers. So the first is Matter of Fact Moisturizer. This is a beautiful pump form moisturizer, which has a 4% peptide and hyaluronic acid blend. And the specific peptide is the Matrixyl 3000 that helps to target those fine lines as well as rehydrate the skin and really plump it from within. And then the Peach and Lily has the Peptide Pro Firming Moisturizer that we've talked about for a long time now. And the clinical studies for this one were amazing. It was able to smooth out the skin, restore that elasticity as well. And the amount of peptides in this one is insane. All of those were my personal favorites. And I just want to stress that these will not work if you're not consistent with it. So yes, keep that in mind, consistency. By the way, I am not a medical expert, if you can't tell. I'm just a girly who loves diving deep into the information shared by doctors, derms, nutritionalists, health professionals, so that you don't have to scour the interwebs yourself. From our toolkit, we have this specimen. So I feel like these facial tools are all the rage right now for treating signs of aging. But first, let's get to know fine lines a little bit better. There's actually two categories that they fall into, dynamic and static. And these are created differently and so can be treated differently. Dynamic lines are caused through repeated contraction of facial muscles over time, including making expressions, and so creates things like those forehead lines, worry lines between the brows, bunnies, which is on the bridge of the nose between the eyes. I have this one, crow's feet, and laugh lines. Then static lines are visible lines that are regardless of facial muscle movement, including the natural aging process, the laugh lines, as well as lip lines and marionette lines, which is those ones that start to frame this chin area and it starts to sag with the jowls as we get older. So personally, I have seen my face change, especially as I started losing a lot of my baby fat. It has got more definition than 5 years ago and definitely from like 10 years ago. So this one is obviously the one from Medicube. This specific Ussera Deep shot is the one that's designed for anti-aging because it uses ultrasound, red light therapy to target that dermis layer so it can help to activate collagen and elastin production. They also just came out with the Booster Pro, which also has the function of the Ussera built into it. We're gonna get that very soon. And then we have the Current Body LED face mask. I'll show you. It's the one where it uses red light therapy, and there's a lot of studies around red light therapy and how it's able to once again like target those deeper layers of your skin in the dermis to start producing collagen and elastin. You need to be very, very consistent with it, otherwise you just won't see any effects. And that's the main thing for these tools. You will not see any effect if you don't use it consistently every day for long-term benefits. But still, at the end of the day, these aren't going to reverse aging, but I think it's okay to be a little delulu and add these little tools into our routine as long as it sparks joy and it doesn't break the bank. Pack up our tools. Tools! Okay, let's talk oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is something that's been closely related to aging and skin aging in particular. It's got nothing to do with this orange. I just wanted to eat this sumo one because apparently they're the best. Internally, it can come from food, nutrition, smoking, drinking. So just think of it like your insides are rusting out because it's triggered by something that's been consumed in your body. Externally, it can come from air quality like pollution and also UV damage as well as inflammation. Okay, so my tips for oxidative stress starting for the skin is 2 things. Antioxidants, which is your vitamin A's, B's, C's, E's, K's to fight the free radicals to stop oxidative stress from happening on the surface of our skin. And then it's even better when you pair it with your sunscreen. The ones that I love, 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 Numbuzin Waterfall Sunscreen, and then the Anua Silky Heartleaf one. Both of them very similar texture. They're like invisible and they feel so silky on the skin. And then like a sunstick just for reapplication. I love the Beauty of Joe Sun. And then is actually changing out sugary sodas and just sugar in general, because what happens is something called glycation or AGE. Hilariously, it's called age. And what happens is when we eat something with sugar, our body breaks it down into sugar molecules, which goes into our blood. And these sugar molecules sometimes attach to our precious collagen or elastin and other skin supporting proteins, and it starts to make them stiff or weak or brittle and just dysfunctional. And this relationship with sugar is one of the most important tips and something that I wish someone told me earlier on, because it affects hormones, it affects our skin, it affects our aging process. Because when we're young, hormonal issues is just acne, breakouts, cramps. But when you're older, it's actually things like infertility, but it still goes back to the same thing, which is balancing our hormones and regulating our insulin. And I'm gonna add this clip because I'm not a professional, but I'll put this here and this is what she said.
That sugar water, that orange juice, is the same for your body as a glass of water in which somebody put like 20 spoons of table sugar. It's the same for your body. And the antioxidants and the vitamins in that orange juice are not a good reason to get such a massive glucose spike. If you want antioxidants and vitamins, have some vegetables. They don't come with the side effect of these very damaging high levels of sugar.
I'm now in that phase of my life where everywhere I travel or in my bag, I have a little Ziploc bag full of different drinks that I can just kind of like have on the go if I need it for digestion or whatever it is. One of them is electrolytes. So in order for water to enter into the cells, it needs a little bit of sodium. So you can't just keep drinking water and thinking that it's gonna fuel your cells. You need a little bit of the electrolytes and salts, and these drinks are perfect. My current favorite matcha is this one from Nekohama. They make such high quality matcha. What I was having before was these 107's low molecular collagens. So I just like having this because collagen is best when it's like consumed from the inside. You can get it from foods as well, but this is just a fun little thing to eat on the go. And then recently I've been enjoying these little gummies. They're from Spoiled Child, and it's an apple cider vinegar and probiotic gummy. So you can have them any time of the day, 2 to 3 a day. So you just have to follow the instructions because all gummies are different. It will not replace a good diet, but these are there just to like give you a little bit more. And my last tip for oxidative stress might sound a little bit random, but hear me out. It's meditation. So meditation is something that I have been doing for the last 10 years, and I do it every night for at least 30 minutes. And there's been numerous studies where meditation has been proven to help build and strengthen the neurotransmitters in our brain, helping everything from concentration to memory, decision making, and even strengthening our emotional intelligence, or the EQ. And other studies have also measured meditation correlates with lower oxidative stress levels as well as lower cortisol levels. So this just means that it's bringing down everything. It starts from the inside, but it actually starts to radiate and permeate to have really healthy results for your outside. Now moving on to probably the most exciting tip that I recently learned, and I have to share it with you guys. Okay, telomere shortening. Put on my glasses because it's getting real scientific. The TLDR is that aging is all about our cells, and our cells contain DNA, which controls everything. The timeline from birth to death. So it's basically the puppet master of our aging process. So you have a cell, and our cells are constantly dividing and multiplying so that we can physically grow, but also for our body tissue as well as skin tissue to constantly renew itself so that we look youthful. So anyway, inside that cell is a nucleus, and inside the nucleus are chromosomes. And at the end of these chromosomes, there are these caps called telomeres. And like an actual cap that we wear, they're protective and they keep our genetic information intact. So it's like a Control C, Control V situation, but in our cells. But every time our cells divide, which leads them to shorten with every duplication. So essentially, as we age, these telomeres are getting shorter and losing information until that cell eventually dies. And so do we. So long story short, we want to keep our cell function and telomeres as long and healthy as possible. How, you ask, is 2 ways. One is genetic, which we have no control over. The other way is lifestyles, because these everyday habits that we don't even think too much about, especially when we're young, can directly impact how these cells duplicate and multiply throughout our lives. And this brings us back to that term that I mentioned at the very beginning, health span versus lifespan.
And so health span is really the key thing. And what physical activity does is it increases your health span. And your health span, therefore, increases your lifespan.
So here are my tips, starting with 2 of the most important things in life: physical movement or exercise and sleep. Multiple leading health organizations say that the minimum amount of movement or exercise that everyone has to do is 150 minutes a week. So that's about 20 minutes a day over 7 days, which is very doable. Like if you're in New York City like we are, 20 minutes easy, 10 minutes to work, 10 minutes back, you're good. So don't think of it as this like huge thing where you have to go run a half marathon. Give this video a like and let us know if you're already meeting that requirement. Now the next tip comes in about 6 hours. At the end of every day, rest or sleep is just as important as exercise, and I found this diagram that shows that there's actually all different types of rest. Sensory, social, emotional, physical, and all the way to creative rest for you creatives out there. So I know sometimes it is hard to kind of get ourselves into a habit of sleeping at a certain time. So the things that I do is find some fun or comfy pajamas that get you excited for bed, soft and plush bed linens, because nothing beats that. Then recently, these sunrise clocks and lamps that also have a function that tell you to go to sleep. Reading before bed is also really great. So the goal is just to create an undisturbed sanctuary without any devices, and that'll set you up for the best undisturbed rest. I remember my mom said to me one time when I was feeling really down and depressed and confused about a situation that I can't remember now. And she said, when you look externally to find solutions, there'll always be a point where you can't go any further. But when you shift it and you look at yourself and you ask yourself those questions of why you're feeling that way and where that comes from, that journey that you have with yourself is endless. And I bring that up because I think it beautifully encapsulates the aging process and the ways that we can go about it. So there'll always be medical procedures, there'll be new skincare products and trends and seeking external validation and things like that, which is external. Sometimes that comes at the cost of actually strengthening our acceptance of ourselves, of where we're at and how far we've come, the compassion we show ourselves towards beautifully aging. And so I feel like it is a combination of both. And there are so many other tips and information and products that I couldn't fit into this video. And that's why we've created a cheat sheet in our newsletter to give all the extra information on there. Our team works really hard on making it cute and educational and just a place where we can learn more. So I'll leave the link where you can sign up in the description. What's coming up is all the things that I got in Japan for hair, skin, hygiene. Oh my God, it was amazing. So thank you so much for being on this journey with us as we age, and I'll see you really soon.